Okay, well, good afternoon from sunny Canberra, actually, not Brisbane. So this is a community update in relation to today's meeting of the BDHP Research Ethics and Governance Working Group. And what I wanted to do is just briefly update you on what came out of today's meeting. So there were a number of discussion points we had. Firstly, in relation to the clinical trial governance framework. So Rebecca Steele updated the group on the clinical trial governance framework. That was wonderful. Metro North or Royal Brisbane Hospital had been audited by representatives of the Safety and Quality Commission, and the hospital was found to have a mature clinical trials governance framework. Rebecca did probably talk about the fact that those that audited maybe didn't quite have the experience that would have been required for an in-depth understanding of clinical trials, but that nevertheless, it was good for the hospital to have been found to be suitable to conduct clinical trials. So that was very positive. The second thing we talked about was research priorities, and we didn't really get any action item here. A number of priorities had been listed from the last meeting we had, and I think it would be useful for the group or perhaps for Sarah to take on board the fact that we need to prioritize these priorities and bring to the next working group, I think, a list of this prioritization so that the working group can agree that this is a way forward. And why this is important is because it lends itself to the next point, which was that there is a need for a subgroup to do a number of things. One is to conduct a gap analysis or an audit of the available training and education at their institution. And the reason for this is we know that through the work of ENA, amongst others, what researchers want around Metro South, but the question is, do we have the training and education to support that? So it would be important that we didn't reinvent the wheel, and as such, we would need a representative from each institution to compile, if possible, a list of the training and education that's currently available in relation to ethics, governance, and integrity, with a view to developing perhaps short training videos for researchers. We recognize that just going on a website by itself is not the way in which everyone learns, and as such, having other media through which people can learn would be valuable. And the second point of that is that we need a representative that can actually then be part of a subgroup. So we don't need a representative from each institution, but we need a small number of people who may be skilled in the art of developing these training aids for researchers and administrators. So I think that was an important action item from today. So please, if you would care to nominate someone from your institution who might be valuable in this regard, and then the group can make a decision about the number that are involved. Obviously, the bigger the group, the harder it gets. So having a small number of people who can actually develop these resources would be appropriate. Now, the final thing we discussed was in relation to the HREC training conference, which myself and Sarah ran last week. I think it was the week before, actually, 18th to 20th of November. We had 800 registrants, 680 people online, probably with a maximum of 500 at any one time. So for a conference that lasted for 3 days and had some amazing speakers that didn't cost anything, the ability for that many people to attend virtually probably saved the health system somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000, noting that half the members were probably HREC members. That in itself, and providing the access to that information to so many HREC members, was, I think, modestly speaking, a very great success. I think what it does also is it provides a blueprint for the way in which we can do similar conferences, noting that it was only 2.5 months from conception to execution, a time frame which many would probably have balked at were that to have been a face-to-face conference. And what has happened is, following agreement from the presenters to provide their presentations online, these presentations will be available on the brisbanediamondtina.com HREC 2020 website. So they will be a valuable resource for both researchers and for HREC members, at least in the next year, and will take care to a large extent of any training that HRECs would otherwise have to have undergone. So it only remains for me to say thank you, Sonia, for organising the meeting, and may I wish everyone who even watches this best wishes for whichever way in which you wish to celebrate the festive season. So this is Gordon McGurk from the Royal Brisbane Women's Hospital Ethics Committee signing off. Good afternoon.